Good morning. This morning we are going to treat a patient with Wggv for on-4 technique. And in my hand is the maxillary models of this 51 years old Thai gentleman. And you can see this is an edentulous maxilla with a broad anterior ridge. However, this gentleman has a very rheumatized maxillary sinus on both sides. So here is a good indication for the on-4 protocol. And I'm going to demonstrate to you how to make use of the Wggv for the on-4. And after the placement of the 4 implants, we are going to deliver the temporary bridge immediately. So this is the surgical template, the Wggv surgical template for the on-4 protocol. And on top of the template is the index for us to position the template correctly before we start the implant osteotomy. Firstly, we have to allow the patient to wear his lower denture first, because we want to make sure that the upper template is in the correct occlusal relationship with the lower teeth. Now the template is in place, and which is stabilized with the occlusal index. Stabilize the template using anchor pins in this free anterior channel. So this is the 1.5 millimeter diameter tristle. So once this preparation is done, we can insert the anchor pin into this free channel. Remove the occlusal index and also the lower denture. The purpose of using this regular platform statue or the counterpore before the implant osteotomy is for us to open the oral mucosa and also make entry to the crestal bone.
คุณลุงอย่าหายใจทางปากนะครับคุณลุงหายใจทางจมูกได้ไหมครับ
The site for implant placement. And this is the 2 millimeter guided tristle. Today we are going to place 4 implants with the length of 13 millimeters. So this guided tristle is the 7 to 13 millimeter long guided tristle. What you can see here is the 2 millimeter, the regular platform guided jewel guide, and which can be fit perfectly into the sleeves on the occlusal surface of the surgical template. So we insert the jewel guide, and with this jewel guide, it will guide us to jewel with the correct angulation and the depth. And with this initial drilling, we can have some idea about the bone quality, because on the body of the drill you can see we do collect a small amount of cancellous bone debris. We are going to use the 2.8 millimeter tristle. Of course, at the same time, we have to make use of the 2.8 millimeter regular platform jewel guide. basically I prefer to finish one side first, and I used to start with the anterior, so that I have an idea about the bone quality, and also I can make use of the first implant to further stabilize the surgical template before proceeding to the remaining site. So what you can see here is the connection to handpiece. This is to connect to the fixture mount in order to carry the implants to the osteotomy site. So I start inserting the first implant, and I start with a torque value 20 Newton centimeter. And you see the implant stop before fully seated. So I have to increase the insertion torque to 30 Newton centimeter. And the implant stop again, and still I haven't seated the implant completely. So I increase the insertion torque to 40. And the implant is fully seated. And I use the manual torque wrench to check. So you can see we are actually up to 45 Newton centimeter. Just to be sure that the implant is completely seated before I proceed. So I'm going to remove the fixture mounts. So this is the fixture mount. So this is an abutment with similar design with the guided abutment. You can see this is an abutment with a splitted head. Okay, so basically the head of the abutment is splitted into 4 metal wings. And this one, when we insert it through the sleeve of the surgical template, it will provide further stabilization to the surgical template, and which is very important for us to carry out precision surgery using the Nobel guide concept. Abutment in, and then okay. So the template abutment is in place, and now the surgical template is very stable because we have 3 anchor pins horizontally in the anterior region, and now we have a template abutment providing some compression of the surgical template vertically. So we have this mechanism to stabilize the surgical template, and it facilitates the subsequent drilling because we don't have to worry. Furthermore, the surgical template may move. Okay, we can detach the fixture mount. Okay. The template abutment is out. Okay. So all the fixture mount and the template abutment are removed. And before I remove the surgical template to prepare for the prosthesis, I need to do a little bit soft tissue management. So I'm using the guided soft tissue punch to clean up the soft tissue around the platform of the implants. Okay, once this step is done, it's time for me to remove the anchor pin one by one, and to detach or to remove the surgical template. So this is to remove the soft tissue around the implant head. Now we are ready to connect the abutment, and we are using, this is the P-mounted regular platform MUA abutment, 1 millimeter. So we just insert them with finger force, and we have to tighten the abutment to 35 Newton centimeter. Okay. So here is the laboratory model that was prepared by the laboratory technician using the surgical template. And on this model, we have the implant replica. And therefore, before the surgical procedure, already the dental technician have chosen the best abutment for us. And in the posterior, we are using the non-engaging 30-degree multi-unit abutment, 4 millimeter height. And in order to position the angulated abutment correctly, the laboratory technician already prepared what we call a location jig for us to position the abutment at the correct position. So anteriorly, we have this coping attached to the multi-unit abutment. So now we are connecting the angulated abutment to the implant at 15 Newton centimeter. Okay. It is seated. Remove the jig. So you can see the angulated abutment is in place together with the multi-unit abutment anteriorly. So now we can proceed to the other side. So all the abutments are seated. For the all-on-4 protocol, the temporary bridge we use is made of full acrylic resin, so there is no metal reinforcement inside. So in order to avoid any possibility of breakage of the prosthesis, so we don't want to have cantilever. So that's why for this temporary prosthesis, we only put 10 teeth for the patient. So later on, when the patient have the final bridge, of course, with the metal framework, the patient can have the molar cantilever for that.
บรรเทาการเป็นไข้ปวดศีรษะเป็นหวัดน้ำมูกไหลดีคอเจนเม็ดยา3ชั้นบรรจุแผงละ4 เม็ดอ่านคำเตือนในฉลากก่อนใช้ยาน้องเจ้าหนูอยากเป็นหมอครับคุณหมอต้องเรียนหนังสือให้เก่งและเรื่องหมอฟันเหรอมีคนเขียนจดหมายมาถามด้วยหนูใช้ยาสีฟันสมุนไพรสีฟ้าก็สึกเหมือนฟันไม่สะอาดตายสมุนไพรอยู่กับนี้จัดได้กับแม่ยักษ์ปกป้องสีเย็นแล้วหนูไม่คิดจะปกป้อง
So now it's time for me to attach the temporary prosthesis with the co-cure acrylic. But before I do this, I need to seal the screw access hole on the temporary coping with Nicure composite.
ที่วัดปากน้ำโพใต้ตำบลปากน้ำโพอำเภอเมืองจังหวัดนครสวรรค์ซึ่งตั้งอยู่ริมฝั่งแม่น้ำเจ้าพระยาได้ถูกน้ำท่วมเป็นเวลาเกือบเดือนแล้วท
าวบ้านหลายครอบครัวได้หนีน้ำขึ้นมาอยู่บนท้องและสัตว์เลี้ยงขึ้นมาด้วยเจ้าอาวาสวัดและพระส่วนหนึ่งถูกน้ำท่วมกุฏิทำให้ต้องย้ายมานอนบนศาลาพิพิธภัณฑ์ของวัดแทนและยังคงต้องหุงหาอาหารทางวัด
With the angulated abutment, at this moment it will be difficult for giving the patient a final bridge, because for TV and now concept, which is based on the same Nobel guy, technique, we have to use the guided abutment, which is a specially designed abutment for a final screw retain prosthesis. But in case with all-on-4, we are using the non-engaging angulated MUA, and at this moment, it is still preferable to have the temporary bridge instead. So you see we have filled up the occlusal opening with cochlear acrylic waxing, and now we can bond the temporary prosthesis. The final step is to also seal the screw access hole of the pre-attached temporary coping. So this is the occlusal view of the prosthesis.